Good evening, everybody. You guys see the faces on your screen. We're back to talk some baseball, and as well, you see a new face on your screen that we haven't seen here on the show. We're going to introduce him shortly, but let me start with the familiar faces that we see in each week as we talk baseball here on the Dish, brought to you by The Scene. As you see, I'm wearing the hat of the best record in baseball right now. Yeah, I have to rub it in a little bit, even though Ty is in disagreement with me. But back to
you know what this really is. He wore it so he could say that while he still can.
Exactly. Because I know injuries are going to happen. We talked about this already, so I'm talking about it now. Best record in baseball, even though it's probably only the last 3 days, whatever. Ty, huh?
I was gonna say even the Diamondbacks have 5 wins.
Hey man, come on now.
Hey Ty, send it over to you over there, man. How you doing? How's everything?
I'm doing great. I was like doing one of these numbers at the beginning with our first series and what we did. Had like a shout out to Jerry West moment with that Rockies series on Winning Time. Good series, by the way. I'm sorry, Jerry. I'm sorry, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm sorry, Magic. I love Winning Time. That's a little plug right there. But anyway, everything is good in the Valley of the Sun. You know, it feels like summer is here, it's hot, and I'm like, we're not even close to the dog days of summer yet. But next month, I'll be visiting Chase Field and seeing what the Diamondbacks have to offer, you know, on that night I go when my Dodgers come in town. So, but baseball's here in full effect. Some things that I didn't see happening are happening. Some things that I did see are happening. And, you know, I'm just here, you know, talk baseball with my guys.
Nice. I didn't want to interrupt you, but don't apologize to Kareem. He don't even like Winning Time.
I mean, he wrote a good, strong opinion essay about it. So he defended Jerry West. I respect that. So, you know, shout out to Cap.
So we're gonna send it over to Carrie. Carrie, what's up, man? How you doing?
Well, I will see your best record in baseball and lower you the worst record in baseball.
Oh yeah.
But I'll get into that plenty later. Like Ty said, man, baseball's back in full swing. I'm just enjoying it. There are a lot of new faces at the top of a lot of stat categories right now. And, you know, of course it's early on. They're not all going to stay there, but, you know, it's always a fun time of the season to see, you know, you always see some people shine that, you know, may or may not, you know, stay that way. And so it's cool to see different people making a difference sometimes early in the season before everybody's up to speed.
Yeah, man, of course. Of course, as we know, early in baseball, you know, usually the arms are in front of the bats, but it looks like some bats are making some noise, in which, you know, some names we haven't heard, and pretty interesting. Let's go over to my man Kyle over there, Boston Red Sox fan. Not doing too hot, but still talk about him, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, doing good. Everything's good over here in Texas. Hot as hell. I mean, Sox are in 4th place. Still waiting for that 4-way tie over in the AL East. You know, with the Orioles finishing in dead last. But hey, you know, still early in the season. Got a lot of season left to play. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, whoever came up with that Sanders 4-way tie on top of the division was like, we have no idea what we're doing. Let's just go 4-way tie. We can't go wrong.
If you look at the Rays, Yanks, and Sox right now, I mean, it's pretty close, 7-6, 7-6, 6-7, with the Blue Jays only being 8-5. So not too bad. It could happen.
Now we got a new face here. Jeremy Knight has been in our groups for a while. We haven't had him. It's a pleasure, Jeremy, to have you on here. He's actually, let's say it, Guardian fan. You know, he's gonna have a lot to say about the team, the direction they're heading, what they're doing, and also, of course, the name change. We haven't heard a fan talk about the name change yet, but he's gonna get to that. How you doing, man? Glad to have you. Let's talk some baseball with you. What's going on? How's your week going?
Thanks for having me. Well, I wish I could say that it felt like summer was around the corner. We just had a couple of games canceled this week because of snow. So, that's how things are typically in Cleveland this time of year. But I can say that I'm pleasantly surprised with the way the baseball season has started so far. And if it weren't for those surprises, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys tonight. So,
Well, at least you're being honest with us, man. And actually glad that Cleveland's actually doing not too shabby, not too bad so far this year, right? So
it's a good start.
we'll get into that shortly. So as you guys know, we're 2 weeks into baseball. Had some ups and downs with some teams, some hot starts, some surprises, some not so great starts as a category got into there for a second. We're gonna give you our top surprises and also our top what the fucks of the season so far. So we'll go either way. I don't care which way you go first, whether it's what the fucks or surprises. But let's shoot it over. Actually, Kyle, how about you start it off, man?
Let's go. That's what I wanted.
You give me your what the fuck or your surprise, whatever the hell you want to give me first, man. It's up to you.
All right. I'm gonna go surprise first. Okay. Let's look at the Rockies. Okay. And the reason why I say that because we kind of talked about a pre-show, but the Rockies looked less than stellar on paper, right? I want to say like a very average team. We talked about Chris Bryant signing in the offseason or just before the season started, and we were just like, why was that signing significant for them? Looks like it's starting to slowly pay out for itself. I know the season's still early, but the Rockies right here is going to be my surprise. My other surprise I was going to say was Cleveland, but that I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder on that.
Yeah, man, that we were all wondering like what the hell was going on? Why did they make that signing? But right now, it's looking pretty nice for them, but it's still early. And we talked about it in the chat, and Josh actually Storms hit on him, man. Like let's wait to see what they do outside of Coors Field, because usually they're really good in Coors Field, and they play to their advantages there.
Yeah, that's my thing. So I also picked the Rockies as my surprise team, but at the same time, partly they made some, as Kyle touched on, really kind of puzzling decisions. Not trading Story at the deadline last year, knowing full well that he already wanted out. And then I don't even know why they made an attempt to sign him this season. I mean, he was disgruntled from the deadline on. Then they decided not to sign John Gray and let him walk. He ended up getting 3 years, $48 million. And then they turn around and give the same money to Kyle Freeland.
Yeah.
Freeland had a fantastic, I think it was 2019, 2018, whatever. He was like a 2.85 ERA across 27 starts. But he's been hurt since, and he hasn't looked like that guy anymore. And it's like they're putting all their chips into that basket that he's going to get back to that form, when they could have spent the same money and had both of them, because they still had Freeland under control through the end of next season, before having to sign an extension. And then just when it looked like they were in full on sell mode, they bring in Chris Bryant. The one thing with the Rockies that, like, I picked them, but I also want to temper my expectations a little bit, just because, like you hit on, Jorge, they've only played 2 games outside of Coors Field so far, and they're always one of the best teams in baseball when they play at home.
Yeah.
And, they're 2-0 on the road, but that's because those games came against the Rangers.
Hey,
let's be honest.
Hey, I'll tell you, when I was living in Colorado, man, it was hard walking upstairs. That altitude really gets to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it also helps that they have 2 of the best hitters right now in baseball. I mean, I know it's early, but CJ Cron and then also Connor Joe. They're both hitting over 300. You know, the one's hitting 333, the other one's hitting 349. So I mean, I think that's
Chrome's
still there
leading
then.
all of baseball in average, isn't he?
In batting average.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's
No.
Arenado right now. Yeah, Arenado's
Okay.
at 405.
I saw him at the top of one of those
Oh,
categories.
well, actually, that's somebody else that's leading in all baseball of average. But we'll let Jeremy talk about that when he talks about his team. Ty, who do you got, man?
All
Don't
right.
give me no damn Dodgers either, please.
Look. I gave my little shout out at the beginning, but I'm gonna be different because Storms and Kyle, sort of taking my thunder. But I was prepared for this. So nobody wants to talk about the Cubs. Surprise, surprise. I mean,
Time out. Total bases. That's what Chrome leads in. Back to you.
Okay.
And we bring it back to you.
That moment was brought to you by Josh Storms and Josh Storms Enterprises.
And I approve of this message.
But so at the beginning of the year with the Cubs, I'm like, okay, they're gonna be great. I had said the Brewers are going to dominate that division. I didn't even think they would be close in the race, and I know it's still beginning of the season, but I was intrigued by the Suzuki kid. Well, not kid, but the Suzuki guys. Is he the real deal? And I remember the first game I actually watched, like Corbin Burns didn't pitch to the guy. And if you look at what he's going through right now, nobody wants to pitch to the guy. Like they're really afraid of him. He's getting walked a lot despite him putting up numbers already this year. So he's the truth. And then out of nowhere, Jason Hayward figured out how to hit a ball again. And I'm like, is there something happening in the Windy City? Something that I don't know that's going on in Wrigley Field? I'm not saying that a 6-6 start is amazing, but how they're doing this 6-6 start against some impressive teams that this easily could have been like a Cincinnati Reds 2-11. Sorry, category, but I mean they're stringing along games by the skin of their teeth. There's only like a 2-run differential as a team, but I'm surprised with what I've seen, especially coming from a team that's in complete rebuild mode, that doubled down on Suzuki, said, okay, we think he's the future. And so far, you look at his on base, his plus slugging percentage, he's third? He's right behind Arenado and I think Jose Ramirez right now.
Yep.
4-11. He's the truth. And getting walked.
So far, he definitely has been, man. Like he's lived up to it.
So right now, because he was going to be my surprise player, so I got all the numbers on hand. He leads Major League Baseball in offensive WAR at already 1.2 games. On base percentage at 565, OPS at 1404, OPS plus at 303, which that means he's 3 times as good as the average player. For those who don't know OPS plus, he's top 5 in overall WAR, slugging, home runs, RBI. He's second in walks behind. Soto has 13. He's got 12. He's top 5 in runs created. He's second in times on base, second in at bats per home run. Like it's insane.
Surprise.
Crazy. 2 weeks in, and those numbers, I mean, they don't lie, man. If he keeps it up, he may wind up getting 2 towards the end of the year.
More importantly, though, for baseball, I hate the Cubs, but he's brought us back to Wrigley. Like their fans are excited to go back to the ballpark again so that they can watch him play.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, Jeremy. You're up. Who you got, brother?
So let me preface this by saying that if I were to be in like sports media as a profession, I would be best off as a beat writer. Like I pay attention to all sports, but like I just really, hone in on the local teams. But as I look around, and this is just kind of like a 10,000-foot view, but the standings in the NL East are kind of surprising so far. And I know you can't win the division in April, but you can put yourself in a really bad spot moving forward. And the Braves and the Phillies both being under 500 so far is a little shocking. And I just kind of like look through the numbers, and they don't look terrible, but they're just not translating to wins. Like Harper, the average isn't up, but he's still driving in runs. Castellanos isn't batting too bad, but they're not doing anything. And I know for the Braves, Acuna's not back yet, and they lost Freeman, and that was a big part of their offense. But Olson's batting 400. Albies is still Ozzy Albies. I don't know. I would say that my biggest surprise is just kind of the NL East as it's playing out so far. And it's kind of nice to see the Mets. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of what we expected that from them last year. And with all of the extra money that they spent, this offseason, I would say that this is expected from them.
And before Jorge gets too big ahead,
it's already too late.
I will point out that once the Mets finally started playing, they were what? They went 6-0, and they were in first for 2 months before. Well, you know what
injuries happen.
Health is wealth.
True.
I just feel a responsibility to bring Jorge back down to earth.
I haven't left. I haven't left.
I mean, having two legit aces though, is DeGrom going to be back anytime soon? He's
getting an MRI on Monday, and if it shows like it's healing, he's going to start throwing. But if not, he's going to be out longer. So we'll Monday's a big day. Monday's a big day as far as what.
Don't expect him before June, essentially.
Probably not.
Can I just preface that I could put up 10 runs against the Diamondbacks? I just want to throw that out there. I had to say something. I had to do it. Good win against the series against the Phillies. Bravo. You're doing decent against the Giants, putting up a fight, but I could put up 10 runs against the Diamondbacks. I'm just saying.
Were you just taking a shot at my Mets and I didn't hear it? Is that what I heard? Or is that what I think I heard? Do better,
way to spend your money. The way to be like the Dodgers. Welcome to the club.
Happened as far as you know.
So I'm gonna give a funny kind of surprise. How about Baltimore not being 0-13? How about
them sweeping the Yankees?
Yeah, sweeping the Yankees.
How about
Where you
Pittsburgh
at?
not being 0-12? Huh? How about that?
Also true.
That's awesome. Good for them.
Moral victory.
Small victories in the world. Nah, I agree with Kyle, man. The Rockies. The Rockies, they look good, man, and they're doing it in ways to where we did not expect them to do it. But like Josh was saying, Storms was saying, excuse me, that we gotta wait and see what they do outside of Coors Field, because they know they play good at Coors Field, and they can beat anybody in Coors Field. They play to their advantages there, and we'll see what they do away and what they're able to do if their pitching holds up, if their bats are able to keep putting up runs. They're gonna depend on a lot of putting up runs, and what better field to do it in than Coors Field, where they have that elevation that helps them a lot. But let's get to the what the fucks. What the fucks of the year right now. How about I throw it over to Ty first. Storms, I'll give you a couple more minutes to think this through. Go ahead, Ty. What you got, bro?
Where do I even start? there's a couple that come to mind that I would want to speak on, but ultimately, I'm going to definitely. I'm sorry, Storms, but I gotta say it. Like the Reds, like
You can't
what,
not say it.
like seriously, you have. I mean, I know you guys have only played 2 games at home, but haven't had a home victory yet. Only 2 wins strung along,
Lost it.
and you guys have been getting your not beat, but like dragged. like,
Hmm.
it's pretty bad. And I did not see that coming at all. Who could have? Honestly, I enjoyed the wins you gave us. I'm sorry I helped contribute to
I'm
that.
sure you did.
That's the only thing I called. And yes, I will say it's a very tough start. Like it's not indicative of like the talent you guys have in your team. Like this is a tough schedule, but compete. Come on, do something. I mean, this is just a very 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 bad start, and you guys look terrible. And I'm sorry, Storms. Sorry, Zach, but
No, not
Don't-
sorry.
don't
Zach.
be sorry
No,
to Zach.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
Don't be
Zach.
sorry to him.
no, because Zach called it too. Like, and I didn't challenge it. I was like looking at the first 25 games. I'm like, yeah, you guys are screwed. But
I said we'd be lucky to come out of it 10-15, and I think he said 8-17 or 7-18.
and he's looking right. He's looking
right.
right. So I mean, so that's why I'll give him a shout out, Mr. West. And happy birthday, Holly, by the way.
Mhm.
So I'll give you a shout out there. But yeah, it's gotta do better than this.
Man,
37 runs and only 13 games did you score? The run differential of -37.
Woo! Lord.
Damn.
That's especially bad now that run differential is being used as the first tiebreaker at the end of the season.
Yes.
Which,
It matters.
by the way, I know this
Mhm.
isn't the segment, and I'm not trying to. I'd like to change the subject, but as far as who was it? It was the Giants, right? That bunted up 8, and everybody got upset with them.
Yeah.
Sorry, but your hurt feelings are not more important than making the playoffs.
Mhm.
Period.
Good point.
Unwritten
Kapler
rules.
nailed that response too.
Absolutely.
Dude, the
Absolutely.
more I hear Kapler, the more I love that dude. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I missed the show when we did our the top 5 managers, but he'd make my list for sure. But
So I'm gonna let you keep adding to what Ty and everybody's gonna say about.
I was
your
gonna
team.
say
So,
I'm yielding my time to Josh because
So
I don't think there's any bigger what the fuck than Cincinnati,
Yeah.
especially after what
okay.
the comments.
So-
from the owner.
he said, "Oh, he said, okay."
The floor is yours, Storms. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Storm.
So let me start off by saying the Reds are not this bad. Okay, the team right now is decimated with injuries. Luis Castillo, Mike Minor hasn't made his debut yet. India's on the IL. Senzel just came back from it. Moustakas just went on the IL. Stevenson just got knocked out at the plate.
Mhm.
So that being said, 2-11 is still inexcusable. 9 L's in a row. They have been getting blown out. They have come back and made a few of them close at the end when it was too late, but that doesn't really matter. not when you saw how the game played out. The only hope I have is just get healthy. Get healthy, get some of those established, how many established guys left on the team, but get some of those established guys back in there. Providing some guidance and leadership to some of the younger guys. I'm really not all that upset about it. I was not one of the people that picked them to make the playoffs this year. This year's is what it's going to be as far as I'm concerned. But in particular, I'm concerned about Joey Votto. I'm not overly concerned because he's always been kind of a late performer. He may be the best second half baseball player of the last 20 years, like specifically second half. But he changed his bat this year. He always tweaks his swing and his stance every offseason. So maybe some of this is to be expected a little bit with all the newness, but it's uncharacteristic for him to be second in all of baseball in strikeouts at the plate. That's what's got me concerned. This is a guy that always makes contact. So
Do you think he got home run happy, especially after last year?
Well, so he's talked about how that's the way the game is moving. With the shift still being on, he talked about how he's been hitting the ball hard, but the shift just gobbles it up sometimes, and that's baseball. His response, instead of what we've been bitching about, start hitting the ball the other way. All that is the way the game's being pitched and the way the defense is being played. It's moving more towards power hitting. And so that's what the adjustment that he made towards the end of last year. And we saw how it paid off, Yeah. So hopefully this first 13 games is just the to be expected, adjustment to his new swing and his new bat. I hope.
Yeah, he's too good of a player, man. He's definitely going to get to where, the back of his baseball card says, man. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. And that's just what he does. He, like you always say, what does he do? Votto, he bangs.
Yes,
yeah.
Joey Votto still bangs. He's also, and I've said this a million times, and I'll say it a million more, the hardest out in baseball since Barry Bonds. Go look at the year by year OPS leaders.
Yep.
I think Soto might be coming for that.
Ooh,
he might be.
Words.
Yeah,
he might be.
Kyle, you gotta add to the Reds' misery, or you got another what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you all seen it, and it's been posted.
Say the White Sox. Say the White Sox, though. Say the White Sox.
So, I actually thought about that pretty heavily, actually, because it's really their season to lose. But no, kind of more with the Reds, man. And sorry, Storms, but I'm sure you guys all saw it. Tony Pham talked all that shit, saying that he's gonna try to get his numbers up and everything, and try to, do him, and then, he's hitting less than what little leaguers hit on a Saturday morning.
He's been a little bit better lately.
yeah, that's true. And then I guess my, with run differential being playing a role nowadays, and I don't really think it matters for the Rangers, but everyone throwing their arms up in the air when Seager got walked with bases loaded. It's not that big of a deal. It's part of the game. They didn't want to give up a big hit. The dude's hitting over 300. I'm not trying to give up 3 runs, to a man that's hitting 300. So
anybody who has a problem with the Angels doing that, I've got one word for you: scoreboard.
Yep.
They won the game, so it worked.
Yep.
Exactly.
Win is a win.
Yep. I agree.
And if memory serves, both times Barry Bonds got walked with the bases loaded, they lost the game.
Yep. So, no, that's all I got for my what the fuck's that. And, we've already talked about this too, but the whole Kershaw thing, but I'll let someone else talk about that.
Go ahead, Jeremy. What you got to say, man? What's your what the fuck of the year so far?
I know this kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about later. But Franmil Reyes he's not having a good start to the year. I feel like as I've been watching him, he's kind of, it feels like he's hitting the ball hard and he's just kind of hitting it right at guys. But I actually looked into some of the actual numbers, and it's not great. He technically has one barrel. His hard hit percentage is down, and the thing that really surprised me, and I know this could just be like based off of him kind of taking a step too much. His launch angle is up over 16 right now, and he's like a 9 to 10 guy. So the only thing I can think of is he's just trying to hit the ball out of the park every time. I think he's leading the league in strikeouts right now. I know he has 16 or 17. So that is kind of really the one what the fuck for Cleveland so far this year.
Well, being in first place, you're going to talk about that shortly. We're going to give you the stage, but
yeah,
we'll get to that. Right now, my what the fuck is the Reds as far as, what they're doing. We weren't expecting that. But I also have another team that we haven't even touched on that with the money they spent, we thought they would be a little better than what they are. The Texas Rangers. What the fuck?
Mhm.
Most expensive 100-loss outfield in history.
Man,
They have no pitching though. Come on.
They
Bad,
don't.
terrible
don't.
pitching.
They
I
don't.
have no pitching. What do you guys think would happen? I didn't think the Rangers are going to be like a 500 team. I was like, okay, they added some names, but they have no pitching. They have me as a pitcher.
Hey, don't sell yourself short. You'll do all right.
I'll give you a solid 5 wins. Their pitchers
I bet you're an Orioles pitcher minimum.
No, but for real, man, they started out the year so far. They're what, 2-9, and they're already 5 games out. I mean, they spend a lot of money for their shortstop and their second baseman. You would think that, at least get a little more wins out of them. You're right. They have no pitching, but, just with the names they spent, you'd think they would put up more runs. They'll, make some noise, but they're in a tough division. Let's be honest. I just thought they would have a little better record than what they have now, 2-9. But yeah, our biggest what the fuck is definitely have to be the Reds. 2-11 is tough. I just wanted to mention the Rangers because of what they started off with. They're currently 9 in a row, 37 run differential, like we were saying, and they've only scored 37 runs. That's horrible, man. And I don't think it's indicative of what they're gonna be. Storms, like you were saying, I just think they're off to a rough start because of the teams they play, and the injuries that they have. And but the one huge and real piece that you guys have to build around, man, is that pitcher you got, Hunter Green, right? That's he's legit. He's the truth, man.
And I think Lodolo is going to be really good too. He's and I like having the two of them in succession in the order, because Hunter's going to come at you with 102, and then you got Lodolo, who's he barely touches 91 and throws a whole hell of a lot of breaking balls, and comes at you more with the command and control. So I do think as long as ownership doesn't screw with the roster too much, we've got some solid pieces for the future. But I'm at this point, if they don't start adding people, I'm looking more at like 3 or 4 years from now. So
yeah. So we got a couple of comments. Let me read the comment here. You were making fun of the O's, and John. Joe is over here saying Storm's got jokes, and Vic is actually saying a good point that the Rangers are 6th in runs scored. Yeah, but it doesn't matter when they're like 2nd in runs for. So that doesn't. I mean, runs against. I'm sorry. So they're scoring a lot of runs, but giving up more. So that doesn't,
It's a
really
tough-
matter if
tough
you're getting
position.
outscored. Yeah.
How about can we throw in Carlos Correa as an honorable mention? What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, basically, what
mean-
the fuck are you doing going to the Twins? Like
It's looking a whole lot like a bag chase right now.
I mean, honestly, he got
a one-year bag chase.
Yeah, he got a good deal to where he can opt out after every year. So I mean, honestly, if he's like, oh, I made a bad choice, let me go somewhere else, he can do what he wants.
Actually, I think whether he turns it around or not, if the Twins are not, I don't know, if they're 8 games back for the division still or more at the deadline, Correa gets traded.
Yeah, give him, give him away for
It
something.
could have been a
instead of
smart
for
front
nothing.
office move by Minnesota.
I mean, if you think about it, that turns him into like a $21 million player instead of a what's his AAV, 36.
I believe so.
And unless they pay some of that remaining salary in a trade, but I mean, even if all they signed him for was trade bait, they're going to get a haul. So
Especially with that
It's
type
not
of
checkers.
contract.
Yep. So with that, we're gonna close out this segment as far as disappointment, well, what the fucks and surprises and all. And we're gonna give the floor in our next segment to Jeremy. We're gonna call this segment "Get It Off Your Chest." Talk about your team. So he has some good points, the name change that we haven't asked about. Any fan, go ahead. The floor is yours. Talk about what you want to talk about with the Guardians / Indians, whatever you want to call them. Go ahead, sir.
So I still call them the Indians.
Chief Wahoo forever, man.
I mean, it was that way for 100 years. It's the Indians, man. So we'll just start there. I understand. All right. I get why they had to change the name. I don't like the change. And they you have the Guardian pillars on the bridge, and they're the guardians of the city. I don't think anybody actually knew that until they made this change and they started throwing out that was the logo. Like, I've lived here my entire life. I don't live in Cleveland, but I'm from here. And I never knew that was a thing. Now, maybe if you live in the city, that's something that you know, but I didn't know that existed.
I was 2 years old when I found that out.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, I think when they made that announcement, a lot of people had that response because, I mean, I knew they had the pillars on the bridge and all, but I never looked closely at them. So, okay, whatever. I've been saying for at least a few years now that it's certainly since the name change topic started to come up 5 years ago or so, as they started they phased Chief Wahoo out. And they went to like the cursive I, and they started using like the block C a lot more, and it kind of started picking up that this was going to be a thing. I had gone through and looked at the actual colorways for all of the Major League Baseball teams, and essentially half of baseball has the red, white, and blue colorway in various forms, lighter shades of blue, darker blue, whatever. When I realized that, I was completely on board with a full rebrand. New colors, new team name. Let's just, if you're going to do this, do it right. Because one of my biggest complaints about baseball is, well, first of all, these unwritten rules and some of the traditions and the lack of allowing some of these traditions to evolve. And when we have this conversation about how do we get people in baseball and how do we make kids stick, apparel and players, merchandise and players is what gets kids. The lack of originality in baseball merchandise, certainly when it comes to on-field uniforms, it's a lot of bland stuff. If you're the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, some of these teams keep it, obviously. But if you're forced into a situation where you need to do something, a name change, lack of attendance, whatever, do something out of the box. Like, I like what Arizona does. Some of their stuff has been kind of sketchy, whatever, but good stuff.
Miami Marlins come to mind for me.
Yeah. And like the City Connect stuff is awesome.
Yes.
Great.
Well,
Do more of that.
I am not an Astros fan, but those uniforms are.
Yeah.
The all
Yes.
black is sick.
Yeah.
The all black is sick.
Yes.
So
Have y'all- on that, sorry
Yeah.
to cut you off. Have y'all seen the Kansas City ones yet?
Yeah, they
If
just
you
leaked
haven't,
today.
Beautiful, beautiful jerseys as well. Go ahead, Jeremy. Finish your thought.
well, I know what I'm looking up after this.
Yeah.
So back to the name change. So they didn't go with the full rebrand. And we were discussing this just before it started. And Josh brought up a really good point as a counter to this. It felt very lazy. And it kind of feels like the Dolans kind of do that sometimes. And I know that they don't. They don't take decisions lightly. They're a very well-run organization. They don't make bad business decisions. Roster decisions, okay, that's another topic, but it seems to be working as evidenced by the start this year. Josh had said that there's a familiarity, especially with a lot of the older fans of baseball, that, the fans don't have to rush out and buy all new merchandise. And there's still, it's kind of the Indians, but it's the Guardians. And okay, I can get along with that. And I guess I understand that side of things, but by and large, I just don't, it just feels stale. Like when you erase 100-year-old mascot, and there was a lot of bad years in there, but certainly in my lifetime, there was a lot of awesome baseball, and more good baseball than bad. And it's kind of tough to move on from that. So it's still the Jake, it's still the Tribe, it's still the Indians in my heart. Like, it will always be that. Will I eventually call them the Guardians? Probably, but certainly not this year. So if that upsets people, you'll be okay. As for the product on the field, as a fan, the biggest question that I had, and this was the biggest, you listen to any baseball talking head analyst, whoever, where is the offense going to come from in Cleveland? The pitching is going to keep them in every single game. But other than Jose Ramirez and Fran Milreyes, who's going to hit the ball? I've been following the farm system a little bit. Actually, probably a little more than the major league team the last couple of seasons. And there's a real log jam at middle infield. And we're starting to see that play out with the position shifting at the big league level with Owen Miller and Andres Jimenez and Ahmed Rosario. Ernie Clement played a lot of infield in spring training, and he was just out in left field yesterday for the doubleheader. they've done an amazing job of taking, and I know this is kind of a thing throughout baseball where teams will draft shortstops because they're the most athletic guys on the field, and just kind of throw them out there and see where they land as they mature as ball players. And the Indians have really done a great job at that, because I think they have 4 or 5 shortstops playing different positions at the major league level. And they have other guys, probably another 3 or 4 waiting behind them. And we saw it yesterday with their extra call at Gabriel Arias. I actually thought he was going to make the team coming out of spring training, but they sent him down, I think, just so he would play every day. And he came up yesterday and he contributed, got a hit, RBI. And yeah, there's another guy that they can go ahead and throw out there. But I mean, obviously the big story was Stephen Kwan, which I had heard the name, but I'll be completely honest that I knew nothing about that guy coming into the season. But man, what a great story, huh? I mean, the dude has an incredible eye. Like historical start to a season. And actually his swing and miss rate, he hadn't swung and missed since September of last year. Like, so even in his K rate was, I think 2.3% last year, which led all of minor leagues. And the next closest guy was at 5%.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I should have known that. Like, if you follow the team at any, I mean, you know, deeper than casual level, we probably should have seen this, but like, I didn't know he was at Oregon State, and he played on who I forget who his teammates were, but you know, Oregon State, good college program, send guys to the pros all the time. But he was there, and he kind of did the same thing there. He's just a tough out, and we're seeing that play out now. I mean, it's dropped now after that, like that first 7-8 game stretch. He's down under 400 now, but that first week he led in. It was either first or second in average, on base percentage, all of that stuff.
I was just looking at it. He's at 387 right now.
Yeah, he's 5th, and
yeah,
he's only 24.
Yeah, he's this was his first time in the majors, was when he started the season. He had never been up before a couple of weeks ago.
So he went hitless in 3 games, but he's hit safely now in 3 games in a row, and that makes it 8 out of 11 big league games for his career.
Yeah, it was the Giant series, which, to be fair, nobody did anything in the Giants game. I think they scored 4 runs in 3 games. So it's kind of been the anomaly series so far, because they got right back to it against Chicago the last couple of days. You know, Jose Ramirez, I think Jose Ramirez might be the most loyal baseball player, maybe the most loyal professional athlete in the history of professional sports. He wasn't really looked at or recruited as a teenager, you know, during the international scouting periods. I think he gave him the story that I saw was that, you know, their international scout had gone back and was like, hey, you know, this guy doesn't really, we want to bring him in. And I think they only gave him like $10,000 or $15,000, or maybe it was $100,000. I don't know. Whatever it was way under what anybody else, like, they were the only offer. So he said yes. And he just kind of came up through the system and became just a good ball player. And now we see, like, he took his first contract out of arbitration. He took a team friendly deal. I think it was 4 years, $40 million. And then now he's, you know, a top 5 MVP guy. And he probably could have got way more than he got. I think the only thing that might have been against him is his age, but at 29, I think a 5-year deal in baseball, I don't think it's out of the question to say that he probably could have got over $200 million if he went to the open market. But for him to take the deal that he did and stay in Cleveland, that's not the type of, and I'm not close, but I don't know him personally, obviously, but you don't see that kind of mentality and loyalty too much in professional sports anymore. And when you hear the on-field reporter for the TV network, when you hear people that know him talk about him, he is the guy. Like, he doesn't really speak English, so he takes a translator still everywhere. But all of the young Latin guys, like, he's basically a coach to them, a mentor, big brother type guy. He loves coming to the ballpark. He just loves baseball. This is a guy that like you hear that a lot. Like, oh yeah, he just loves playing baseball. He just loves playing football, whatever. Like, this guy genuinely just loves playing baseball. And he just shows up and has fun, and he's worth every penny. He's worth every MVP vote. Whatever success this guy has, he's 100% earned it through hard work. And that it's the type of guy you just don't see too much anymore in professional sports.
And to your point, man, he's the least talk about third baseman, superstar third baseman in the league. And it's a year removed from them trading their face of the franchise in Lindor. And he still signed that contract to stay with the Indians, knowing that the Indians were probably going to be some shit.
Maybe the least talked about superstar at any position.
30-30 club, 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger. Like, he's got credentials and no one knows.
Nobody.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and he's always also on the top of the league in doubles. Always. Yep.
He hits the ball hard.
Yes, he does.
Like, his left-handed swing, he's kind of got like a little bit of that Ichiro type, kind of old school, almost slap hitter type thing going on from the left side, and he just drives it everywhere. He hits the ball really hard from the left side, and it's really fun to watch. So moving on, I mean, I don't even know where to go. Miles Straw, they traded for him last year from Houston. Basically, he was just became like that fifth outfielder in Houston, pretty much. And the Indians went. I don't remember what they gave up for him, but I don't know, a long reliever from the bullpen or something. It wasn't much. And I didn't know much about him, and I wasn't necessarily sold on him after last season. He didn't play bad. Like, he played really good defense, but I think he only hit like 255, maybe 260, something in that area. And for a leadoff hitter, I know batting averages as a whole are kind of down, but the type of baseball that Cleveland needs to play to win, they need their leadoff hitter to be at least a 280 hitter.
That's better than the Mendoza line, though. Shit.
This is true. So Miles Straw is just is every outfield position, really. Miles Straw, Owen Miller is batting 500 still. How many at-bats has he had? 33 plate appearances. He played 9 games. Unfortunately, he went on the COVID list yesterday. And I'm not sure what the baseball protocol is or how long that takes. Do you guys have any idea, like, how long guys are taking to come off of the COVID list?
It's only a couple days now.
Yeah, I think it's only because
Christian Vasquez just came off the COVID IL, and he was only on like 2 days, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
same thing with Nimmo and Canna for the Mets. They were only out, I think, 2 or 3 days. It's not anything crazy anymore.
Okay.
They're not doing anything like last year.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm not so concerned about that anymore then. We talked about Stephen Kwan, Marcotto and Miller. Oscar Marcotto has kind of been a little sneaky. His average is down, but he's hitting the ball out of the yard, which I don't know that we've really seen from him before. And he kind of ended up in that fourth, fifth outfielder type position. And just kind of really spotty hitter, but he's one of the now 3 grand slams they've hit in their first 10 games, which is the first time they've done that in club history. And I think the last time it happened in baseball was, is it 2016, 2017, something like that? It's been a few years now. But just as a whole, other than Fran Reyes and Austin Hedges, dude. So I got to ask you guys, this is like a baseball wide thing where catchers by and large just don't hit anymore, right? Like this is happening all over baseball. I mean, there's a couple, JT Realmuto. Yeah. But what happened to catchers not hitting? Is it just, are they spending all of their time working with pitching staffs now? Have analytics rendered hitting from the catcher spot irrelevant?
Yeah, I think so. There's not a lot. I mean, there's only a certain amount of catchers in my head that pop out. Real Muto, Will Smith from the Dodgers,
Salvador
Salvi.
Perez.
Salvador Perez, yeah. And yeah, man, they got more stuff to worry about than hitting, to be honest with you. They got a handle of pitching staff, know what works in their
sync
favor.
with their starting line rotation. Like you have to be in sync.
And
with
I
every
understand.
pitcher.
I understand that, but I don't think 200 should be too much to ask for.
Oh no,
not
not at all. No, but going to your catchers, and I want to. This is actually pretty good to ask you guys now. Has you guys seen that little device that they're using, whether it's on their wrist or their
Pitch comp.
Oh my god, that's the stupidest thing. Like, it doesn't even work half the time. What the hell? Like,
I didn't know that they introduced. So what is this? That just relays the pitch selection?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They can signal like fastball away or curveball inside, and the signal goes not just to the pitcher but also to the center fielder and the middle infielders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's what I like about it is, the players in the field are going to get a little bit, they'll know a little bit more of what to expect based on knowing the type of pitch that's thrown, as far as when the ball gets hit. If it's if they know it's going to be a soft breaking ball outside, they can get in double play depth and know that they're going to have a good shot if it's on the ground of getting to the ball. Whereas if it might be a high fastball, they might play it differently.
But the worst thing about it is they asked MLB, like, all right, you guys have this. Doesn't work half the time. And when it does work, is it going to work when there's 20,000 people in the stand? They're like, we don't think so. We don't know. So what the hell is the point of having it? When the crowd is cheering, you can't hear it. You don't know what the hell is going on. And then when the crowd isn't cheering, it's not even working.
Well, one of the other reasons, not to cut you off, Jeremy.
No, but
one of the other reasons that some of these teams are doing this is with the introduction of the pitch clock coming, right? Because that's next year, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. So this is also allowing, like, half the time the pitcher already knows what the call is before he gets on the rubber. So this is one of the other reasons they're introducing that is, to help not just speed up the game, but knowing that they're gonna have that time constraint, knowing the pitch far enough in advance to where it's not gonna mess with their typical routine as much. Or at least that's one of the ways that it was. I heard it explained. Yeah.
Maddox,
I mean, I guess go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, Maddox was old school. I mean, obviously he was old school, but Maddox used to. If you guys ever read a book about him, he said like he used to touch certain parts of his body, and depending on how he did it, would tell the catcher, "Hey, this is what I'm throwing and where I'm throwing it." The catcher hardly ever threw signs at Maddox, and I mean, it proved to be very fruitful for him in his career. But I think, when you got pitch clock and throwing down signs and then changing your signs because you got someone on second base and all that stuff, that starts to eat up at your clock, especially if your clock's not going to be very long to begin with.
Man, we didn't have Trav on the show. I thought we got away from mentioning the Braves. Thanks there, Kyle. We had
Sorry.
to bring him up, huh?
Hey, man. I mean, I could have mentioned him for the Dodgers.
One question I've had about it, though, is I've seen a bunch of times, a pitch comes in, catcher throws the ball back, and then he sits there and, like, what's to prevent the batter from just
really
fastball inside?
Yeah, getting one in the ear is what prevents him from doing that.
Yeah, fair.
I think I want to bring up this because there are some players that I want to highlight that we've seen transition from catchers to other positions in the majors. Of course, Kyle Schwarber, one of them. And then you look at Wilson Contreras. So it's like all of a sudden with catchers, it's like if you're a good hitter, I don't want you to focus on defense. I don't want you to focus on hitting. But if you're good on defense, I don't want you to focus on hitting at all. And of course, Realmoto being, the exception to the rule, who plays catcher all the time, can get the mileage on his body, but still hit effectively. It's like that type of catcher is a unicorn now. When you used to have, the Buster Posies,
Joe
Mauer,
Brian McCann's,
Piazza.
Pudgy,
Yeah.
Piazza.
Mhm.
So guys who can hit
Jorge.
but also had an arm. Now it's
Yeah.
like if you can hit and you have an arm, I'm going to move you to outfield, even though you may struggle, like a Contreras.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just how the game is now, and I think that's because maybe managers are overthinking it, and it starts with molding and these young guys when they're transitioning from maybe the minors to the majors. So who knows, maybe it will shift because I mean, it's obvious to fans who love the sport. May not be so much for the casual fan, but it's obvious that catchers are not pulling their weight in this league.
I think they're going to in here in the near future when that kid from Baltimore comes up, because that dude fucking rakes. And I remember watching him when he was playing college ball. Like he was just raking all over the place. And I think we're going to start to see that. I don't think it's going to be like a comeback thing. I don't think we're going to start seeing catchers that are just spraying the field and hitting bombs. But I think we're going to start seeing more catchers that hit because of the value that they're going to add. I mean, I know Baltimore is not a very good team, but from the games that they have played, they have been very well in the games. And I think with a catcher that can hit, I think that's gonna bring them to their next level.
Wasn't correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Bryce Harper also started out a catcher
He did.
and he converted into the outfield before he he came up.
Mhm.
So
This is true.
they focused more on those offensive numbers because they saw the potential and told him, hey, forget about being behind the plate.
Well,
to your point.
He's too good of an athlete to be stuck behind the plate.
Yeah.
Like he's been like he did it young enough and he was athletic enough. He made a great transition, to the outfield. So that whole sidebar conversation we just had, I brought that up because, and everything that we've said here is, exactly what Austin Hedges has been. Just, he calls great games, and he handles the pitching staff very well, which is why, he was a big part of one of the trades, but also why they could let Roberto Perez go and didn't have to pay him was because, Perez was incredible at calling a game and handling pitching staff, and Hedges just kind of taken that over. But I'm pretty sure he just got his first hit of the year last year. Like, he's under 100 in batting average. And it's just like, it kind of feels like the catcher spot in a lot of batting orders becoming the NL pitcher spot, which I like the DH, the universal DH, and I think it's needed. But it's kind of being that spot in the lineup feels like it's starting to be filled at another position.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be valuable, right? I mean, if you can get a catcher that even comes close to hitting, 200, a little over 200, or if you look at how they handle their rotations, handling the rotations might be more valuable than having them hitting over 200. If you look at, being a Sox fan, you look at Christian Vasquez, actually, let's look before that. You guys even know who Sandy Leon is? Most people probably don't. But Sandy Leon, the one thing that he did really well was handle a Red Sox pitching staff. Now, the only thing that sucked about Sandy Leon was he was a switch hitting catcher that hit like under 50. I'm just exaggerating there, but he literally hit like less than 150. Which is what you would think is unacceptable in the major leagues, but to get to that level is a feat in itself. But if you can handle a pitching staff, I think managers, skippers are going to look at that and be like, that's more important to me than that, especially when you had guys on the roster that were hitting. You had Mookie Betts, at the time, and you had Xander, you had a young Devers, but everyone was smashing the ball, so you could afford to lose a little bit of production out of one spot, but you're going to make up your wins when Chris Sale goes 8 innings, gives up 1 hit, and the team's just banging the entire game.
Yeah, and again, this is just as a fan speaking. I would 100% guarantee that front office in Cleveland has the numbers to back up their decision to let Austin Hedges bat 143 over the course of a season.
Yeah. And to your point, what you made earlier is that your pitching is what's going to keep you in ball games. So to have a pitcher that's good defensively and can call a game for your pitching staff, meaning the Guardians, is more beneficial than having somebody that can rake. Yeah. That's just the answer,
Which is how you sweep the White Sox other than getting grand slams.
especially when you're getting contributions that you're getting from guys like Miller and Kwan. And
like that first game of the doubleheader yesterday, they went 9 batters in a row without recording an out. Like 9 straight guys got on base. 10 straight guys got on base because there was a walk to start it. Although, Tim Anderson booting 3 balls in the first 2 innings, that helps. So
no wonder he flipped the bird to the camera. I get it now. So go ahead.
That's there's really not a whole lot to say about the pitching staff. They're doing exactly what they are expected to do. They're getting into the 6th inning. It's still early. Once I figure probably by over the next couple of weeks they'll start working into the at least into the 7th. They're doing exactly what they need to do. Aside, like even in the Giants series, they pitched well. They just didn't get any offensive help. But I think the only thing that really stands out with that, and it could just be because it's early, lack of, spring training, but he's pitched well. He's still pitched well. Bieber's velocity is a little bit of a concern.
Down.
Like 2 miles an hour across all of his pitches. He's like 93, 4 guy, and he's like barely topping 91 right now. So, they're kind of limiting him to 80 pitches. And, he's performed well in those 80 pitches, but that's something to kind of keep an eye on, because the sticky stuff was definitely in Cleveland. It was absolutely in Cleveland.
So
Thanks, Trevor.
We got
too.
a couple of comments here that Vic and Dennis is going back and forth on, saying that the catches that can usually hit do change positions. And Dennis is saying, man, Ramirez is on fire. He already has over 20 RBIs. And, Dennis is saying, yeah, he's down 2 miles an hour, but it's still cold outside. So, that should come up. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, he's coming off of the injury last year. He pitched very little, short spring training, which they could just be kind of nursing him back, and that's fine. Like if we're still talking about this at the end of May, or even by like May 15th, then there's an issue.
Yeah,
because that's not going to last over the course of a season.
Yeah. So there's Jeremy with the report on the Guardians. Very
Thanks,
very
boys.
well
Very
thought
thorough.
out and talked about, man. The name change, the roster, everything.
Broke it down.
And shout out to San Diego Studios bringing the show to Xbox last year. That reignited my interest in baseball. I've always followed baseball, but I kind of just was a passive viewer. The show coming to Xbox last year, that helped. So
For sure.
Which we talked about. We talked
Yeah,
about
we did. Yeah, we talked about
Dish
that.
got you covered.
Yes,
yeah, I mean, I guarantee that right there. Merchandise and players bring people to the game.
Mm-hmm.
The more interest in those, the healthier your sport.
And we won't get deep into it because we could, but
yeah,
MLB has been fumbling the bag on marketing for a long time.
Yes.
It's in terms of choosing to market teams over players.
Yes. We say this all the time. A regular person, if they see Trout walking in the street, they won't know who the hell he is.
Save us, Ohtani. Save us.
Yeah. Hey, Vic said he's playing the show right now. That's what he just commented in here. If he's the Yankees, he's probably losing and striking out.
Probably.
I was gonna say he probably struck out, to end the inning right now. So
Stanton's pretty much right up there in strikeouts within the league.
That actually, Ty, is
I was just thinking that.
It's a good segue into our last segment. Or we've it's been a long show. Are we gonna do the other topic, or are we gonna save it?
I was gonna say let's save it in the bag and talk about it next week, just because this has been a long show, and Jeremy went into detail with the Guardians, which is fantastic. But we're definitely gonna talk about this topic. I'm gonna give the guys, everybody in here. Hey Dennis, thanks for that little stat. Gallo is batting 150.
Gallo just got benched.
Thank you.
He just got benched.
You whiny shifting mother.
Let's see.
No, I got beef. Beef with Dennis, and I got beef with the Coco. Stop walking people. Give up 3,000.
Man, right?
Said
Give
it.
it up.
Said it.
Even
Yeah.
though it's the right baseball play, yeah, give it up. They
Put
didn't
some
want the-
respect on Miggy's name.
Exactly.
Hey, did you see what
Exactly.
Miggy said though? Miggy said, "Who gives a shit, man? We lost the game."
Yeah,
You know
I
what?
saw
And that's
that.
a good mindset to have.
That's why
That's a
Mickey's
true leader of the
Mickey.
squad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Miggy, man.
That's
Yeah.
Miggy.
That's
why.
why
Yeah.
everybody loves that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for everybody watching that segment that we just did with Jeremy, get it off your chest. If you ever want to come on here and talk about your team, go into detail, spew about a player, about a team, whatever you want to do, come on the show, get it off your chest, talk about it. Whether it's your favorite team, your most hated team, what they're doing, player, it doesn't matter. Just come on, like just like we invited Jeremy and talk about it, get it off your chest,
And if you missed it, he has no frustrations. He loves the rebrand.
Yeah, right.
And
Just in case.
Hi, we're a Major League Baseball team.
I can't even
You
reference
know what, we
Major
got-
League anymore, man.
we already
Right?
have the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm gonna call them the Guardians of Cuyahoga County.
Ooh.
So just to give you guys an idea of what we're going to talk about next week, we're going to talk about Japanese baseball players and how they come into the league, or Japanese players overseas, how their style of baseball when they come over affects teams, franchises, MLB, going down the line. So, we know some famous faces, that just retired, and a famous face that's playing now, of course, and what he's doing. But we're gonna go into it. We're gonna dig deep into it and give you some names, from the past, blast from the past, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good one. So I want you guys to watch the next show. Stay tuned for that.
What's cool about this?
I'll be ready for it.
What's cool about this is arguably the two most exciting players in baseball right now are fresh out of Japan. Not fresh, not fresh for Ohtani. He's been here a few years, but it's cool. I don't think that's ever happened.
Hey, and then everyone else can do a little bit of history homework and look up Sada Ura-O and tell me what you know about that.
Whoa, you homework assignment.
Yeah.
What I want to know, what I want Kyle to talk about the next show is Dice K's debut. How excited were you when Dice K came?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some gyro ball.
I was gonna say he brought the gyro ball to the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I know you guys are gonna talk about this next week, but shout out Roki Sasaki. That's an incredible stretch of baseball. And
why don't you come back and talk about him yourself?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If you'll have
always
me.
Invited, brother.
Hey, we'll have you, Jeremy. We'll have you.
So the fascinating thing about that guy is, he throws 102. He throws a 92-mile-an-hour splitter.
Doesn't make no damn sense.
Nobody in Major League Baseball outside of two relievers averaged over 90 last year throwing a splitter. A 92-mile-an-hour
splitter coming in that fast is damn near unhittable.
Yeah. It's like the Class A cutter, the 102 cutter, or Bruce Dar's two-seam or sinker, whatever he throws.
Or when he has his command, Chappie's slider.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just unhittable pitches. If I come back next week, if I don't, I'll still be watching. But there's an interesting thing about this, the way Japanese players get to the United States, and I really didn't know about it until this week when I looked into it, and it's fascinating.
Well, I'm gonna make sure I do my homework on that and talk about it since you brought it up. But guys, let's get your final thoughts. Like we said in the beginning of the season, of the show. Damn, I'm already talking like we did a whole season. What do you guys got to say? Time through. I'll kick it over to you, brother.
Just that I am enjoying once again the emergence of the young talent. They're poised to, have that changing of the guard, and the game is in good hands. I think we'll get stars back. And I'm looking forward to the next generation of stars to take us into the next decade. and hopefully they are all healthy. Hopefully they all perform the way they want to and just want to keep getting better and better and compete. That's all you can ask for. But I do think this game is in good hands, talent
All right.
wise.
All right. All right. Kyle, what you got to say, brother?
I think I'm enjoying the season so far. AL East, it's going to be tough all year long,
Four-way
right now.
tie.
Yeah, four-way tie. Hey, if that's the best thing that happens in the AL East, I'm okay with it. It's just
I
gonna
don't
be
really
it's
want
gonna
that
be
to happen now.
yeah. I wonder what the betting odds are on that, but we'll see how that plays out later on.
How about Baltimore, though? I mean, come on now. Like, they're not getting no love. Like, they're just going to finish like 30 games like behind.
I think they're playing for the future. I think they're going to wait for all their guys to get healthy and play for the future. I think you're going to see some of these guys get traded. You know, Trey Mancini and Mullins. I think they'll get traded as they start to build out and within the next 3 years or so, or less than that actually, to try to build out. But AL East is going to be tough this year. You know, I hope Sale comes back healthy, but you just never really know what's going to happen. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch, and I think that's going to give us a lot more topics to talk about leading into the year. But I'm excited. But right now, I got to focus on. Although I'm going to focus on the Sox, I got to focus on the Celtics, and I got to focus on the Bruins going in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
There we go. As you guys know, we talk sports. Doesn't matter what sport it is. We talk it here on the scene. Jeremy, our guest, go ahead, sir. What you got to say?
I was really long-winded with my segment, so I'll just say thanks for having me. Look forward to being with you guys again. Thanks.
No, man, no problem. Invited anytime. As you guys out there watching us already know, the scene. Like Ty says, keep it on your screen. Watch us. Look at that mug as it creeps in. Beautiful mug, by the way. Watch us, The Dish, on Facebook, here on YouTube, Twitter, wherever you want to find us. That's where we're at. Put that damn LA away. Nobody wants to see that thing. Anyway, everybody out there, have a good night. We'll be back next week. Talk some more baseball.
Whoa, category though.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't even there.
My bad. Category, pause.
Damn, man.
My
You know
bad.
what, Jeremy? You can have my
just-
spot next week.
Hey, he was just not.
I already took it, man.
He was non-existent like the Reds there, real quick.
Nah, that
Honestly,
feels like a stray.
What I was actually going to say is, as disappointed as I've been with the Reds so far, I am excited about the Angels. I know Trout's not been playing here of late, but
Mariners.
actually, did y'all see Ohtani just became the first pitcher ever to have 2 plate appearances before throwing his first pitch?
Yes. That was amazing.
And his he got walked in his first appearance, and his second plate appearance came up with the bases loaded and drove 2 in with a double off the wall.
Give him a signature shoe. I will buy it. I will rock
Yes.
Ohtani's.
He's also on the other side of that coin too. He's also striking out a lot this year.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
It's still
details.
early. Minor
Minute
details.
details.
But no, man, I'm excited about the Angels because I'm just so ready for postseason Trout and postseason Ohtani for that matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm just still happy baseball's back.
My bad, Storms. I didn't mean to not give you a
Yeah,
shout
you
out
did.
segment there. You're right. I kind of did. I mean,
And he took that personally.
the Reds deserve it. You know, you don't. But my bad. But no, you know, we'll talk about this next week, and I want to bring it up to you guys, and I'll ask the question now, and we can ponder it until next week, and so can the actual people watching. Is Ohtani going to be, meaning growing as far as popularity and love, as far as a baseball player and beloved baseball player as Ken Griffey was. And I want you guys to answer this next week. So for everybody out there, the scene on your screen right now, keep us there. The Dish, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you want to find us, that's where we're at. And again, Jeremy, thank you for coming on. You're invited anytime, brother. We'll be
Appreciate
back
it.
next
Thank you.
week. Thank you.